What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And today I want to talk to you about equal rights. And I know you're immediately thinking, well, my mind's already made up. There's nothing really more for me to hear. I feel the way that I feel, or I already am on board with it, and that's fine. Whatever. I ask, no matter how you feel, you bear with me and listen to the entire thing. I think you'll like some of what I have to say. But I want to point something out that a lot of people don't notice. If you see this sticker right here on my wall, that is an equal rights campaign sticker. And it's there because I support equal rights for all people. Not just homosexuals, but all people. And we'll get into that in a second. But if you take a look at the YouTube homepage on the day that I created and uploaded this video, up there in the top left corner here, I believe it's up there, you'll see that the YouTube logo has changed for the day, and is changed for the better in my opinion, because it is a rainbow heart, and if you click that, it'll take you to the Proud to Love campaign. It does get better, as they say, and a bunch of awesome videos that celebrates one of the worst ways to be treated unequal here in the United States and certainly throughout the world, being homosexual. And we're going to talk about all of that. So first, let me talk about me for a minute, because I think it's important you know who this is coming from. In my lifetime, I have been called a bigot. I have been called a racist. I've been called misogynistic. I have been called homophobic. And unfortunately, all of those things at one time or another are true. But the person that I am today, the person that I try to be today, is a person with a very open mind and a very open heart who can empathize with everyone around us. And whereas there were times in my life when I was very young, I condemned the differences between me and other people, I now celebrate those differences. And in fact, I find the differences between me and another person, no matter what that difference is, their sexual orientation, the color of their skin, their culture, their belief structure, I find it to be the most fascinating and most beautiful aspect of the human being. And when I get a chance to discuss something with someone on YouTube or on Facebook, and we disagree wholeheartedly because of our belief structure, or because of our culture, or because of what we do, that is the best part of life for me. The opportunity to understand and learn someone else's point of view. Beautiful, loving, and great. And I'll have to admit that born a white, male, straight guy who believed in God, I had a lot of learning to do. Because there are a lot of people who aren't white, male, heterosexuals. There are a lot of people who have differing opinions, differing cultures, different way of lives, and there was a lot for me to learn, and I'm still learning. I still fuck up all the time. And in my personal life, I'm a huge fan of shock comedians. I love, offensive humor, Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, that stuff. And I've actually had to unlearn those behaviors and those feelings because I know they're not right. And so now I make a conscious effort to not, I still fuck up, but I make a conscious effort to not compound that problem that I've had, and I hope that you can do the same thing. So that said, let's talk about equality. I truly believe that all people are created equal. And that does include sexual orientation, but it also includes everything else. It doesn't matter whether you're short or tall, if you're fat or you're small, it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or atheist or anywhere in between. It doesn't matter. You deserve the same rights and the same luxuries and the same as everyone else. Doesn't matter if you're black or white or somewhere in between, doesn't matter. You are a human. Doesn't matter what you like, doesn't matter what you dislike, doesn't matter what you believe, doesn't matter. You get the same rights as everyone else under one condition, that you're not harming anyone else. And this is a core belief structure of mine, even though I still make mistakes from time to time. But I want to point something out to you. A lot of people don't notice this, but this little thing here in the background of my video, that's an equal rights campaign sticker. And whereas they are focused on homosexuals' rights here in America right now, I believe that they also stand for equal rights all over the world for all types of people, and it's awesome. That is awesome. That's a wonderful concept. And right now, in America, the big debate is whether or not same-sex marriage, which perfectly exists in several other countries, including our neighbor to the north, Canada, as they call it up there, just plain marriage, whether or not that's a right that we're going to have for people here in the United States. So this week was an epic milestone when it comes to the debate and the decision. The Supreme Court of the United States of America ruled that the Defense of Marriage Act was not constitutional. Ultimately, what this means is that a state may now decide whether or not it allows same-sex marriage, and if it does, the federal government has to recognize that marriage certificate. It's as simple as that, but it's a huge and epic milestone because basically what it said is that the federal government is going to get the fuck out of your way. And if you do like same-sex marriage, you can go to a state that allows you to get married, and you can get married there. There are 13 such states in the United States right now. And if you don't like it, you can go to a state like Arkansas, which has legally defined marriage as being between a man and a woman. Holy shit, Arkansas. That's my home state. You can go to a state like Arkansas, stick your fingers in your ears and pretend it doesn't exist because that's what's right for you. And that's what makes America so great. Once the federal government steps out of the way, it's up to the states to decide what's right. And there are so many states that specialize in things that other states don't. So it would be nice if we all had the same agreement and we all had the same rights on a state-by-state basis, but that's not the case. One of the things that makes America great is the fact that each state gets to make its own decisions. I think eventually most states will decide to recognize same-sex marriage. It may take a while, but at least 13 have given that decision. You can go get married in those states. Awesome. Now, on the day that I created this video and uploaded it, if you check the top left corner, you'll see that the YouTube logo has changed. And currently, it looks like the YouTube logo with a rainbow heart and a rainbow flag. If you click that logo, it will take you to the Proud to Love campaign, where you'll get to see some same-sex marriage proposals. You'll get to see some awesome equal rights promoting videos, and that's great. And so that's the history. That's why I'm excited. That's why I'm making that video. Now let's talk about the philosophy behind it. And by the way, I just want to say before we do, I'm so proud to be a YouTuber today. I'm so glad to see that they're willing to fight for equal rights and they're willing to fight for love. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are not for gay marriage, and I understand why. I respect your opinion and I respect your decision, and I hope that you can respect mine. But I want to approach you with this simple philosophy. All of us are ultimately created equal, regardless of whether or not you're a sinner, whether or not you have a different sexual orientation, whether or not you're as smart as me or if you're smarter than me, whether or not you're black or you're white or you're male or you're female, or no matter what you are equal. And you and I, as long as we're not harming ourselves or harming other people, deserve the same rights. And if you believe that homosexuality is a sin, I get that. But that sin is between God and the person committing it. The same way every small transgression you ever make is between you and God. It's not my place to limit your rights because of it. Equal rights is not just about homosexuals, though. It's about all of us, and it's about everyone. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you are not harming yourself, or you are not harming other people around you, you deserve the same rights as everyone else. And yes, right now in the United States, our rights to do things are more restricted than they've ever been. But the simple right to marry the person you love, the simple right to do the thing that I could choose to do with a random woman I met in the street tomorrow that I don't give a fuck about, that is important. And I know you think civil unions allow, homosexuals to get together and have an agreement and have a contract, and it's kind of the same, only it's not. There are so many things that are left out of civil unions. Most importantly to me, the one that always comes back to me, is that you are not considered family. And when you are not considered family, when someone is in a hospital, you can't make decisions for them. You can't go into their room outside of waiting areas. You can't be treated as family. You can't access their health records. There's so many things you can't do in that dire moment. That's the one that always breaks my heart. And I don't care what the compromise is, whether we make civil unions perfectly identical to marriages, or whether or not marriages are just something that we can have as same-sex marriage, or maybe we invent some sort of thing called Christian super marriage, in which you sign the exact same fucking contract, only you put a big red cross stamp on it at the end, so that you know God signed off on this one. I don't care what the compromise is. The compromise needs to come down to this. Everyone is the same. Everyone should be treated equal. Everyone gets the same rights. End of story. I know that this will be hard to accomplish. I know that because it's difficult to comprehend. It's difficult for some people to understand. It's difficult for some people to agree. And it's because it's hard for them to empathize with the other person because they cannot recognize and understand and celebrate the difference. And I know that because I have been called a bigot, and I have been called racist, and I have been called misogynistic, and I have been called homophobic. And at points in my life, all of those things were true. But I have learned to empathize. I have learned to celebrate the differences between me and the people around me. I have learned to accept that I am different too, and that we are all different, and in that we are equal. And what I try to do is celebrate those differences. And I invite you to join the same road, and I invite you to join me and to travel with me, and maybe even surpass me one day, and be a better person for yourself, for the people around you, and for those of us who deserve equal rights. And I'm so proud to call myself a YouTuber today, to see that the people at YouTube are also fighting for those rights. Thanks for listening.